Hi, Trina Wright here. It is day 42 of 365 days of realizations, and I am out walking, and I am in such deep appreciation for the sunshine. I'm sure you can see it shining down on me, just inviting me to so fully remember that source is just always right here. It's just right here. Not only shining on me, but through me and infusing me and is me. It's like that's how perfect it is. And to call me to face and turn in the direction of my inner being and merge with her as much as I possibly can with her vibration. And I'm really, really enamored with this whole dancing, playing, swirling, whirling union that I'm experiencing with my inner being as what feels like just the most epic relationship of my life and also the focus of my life. I think that being a conscious creator means focusing. I'm consciously focusing my attention, my energy, my vibration, my beliefs, my thoughts, everything. And I'm doing everything I can to bring those into attunement with Source. And I have this access point through my inner being. How wonderful, how beautiful. And so, on this theme of my inner being, today I am playing with some ideas. And so some of it is that in any given moment, we are emanating a vibration. We know that. And getting back the feedback, and the feedback comes, and then we have, through the physicality of what we've created, some idea of what we are manifesting. If we're being conscious, we should have known it ahead of time. But we get that swirled up kind of physicality representation of it. And it's not supposed to be a place we get stuck in or lost in or we make a big deal out of it. It's just to give us that feeling so that we can then reach for the next thing and the next thing. And when we reach, our inner being is right there reaching with us, not only reaching, but in that moment moving to the thing that we asked for, moving to the version of us that is the vibrational counterpart to the thing we asked for. And then because of the epic power that our inner being has, backed by Source and all it is and the energy that creates worlds, he is able to see what is it that would bring me to this place. And of course, the most important thing for me to do is to be allowing and to just go, not to stand in the place where I got stuck because I was asking, but to move to the place of the lining up with it. I like that slightly better than receiving because it is my creation that I am tuning into. So one of the interesting things is that what happens when our inner being is there, fully sees it, fully recognizes our newest expansion, but we don't go. And so is calling us. And how does our inner being communicate with us? So we know it's through the emotional guidance system. When I step into something or have a thought or anything feels good in my life, it means I'm going in the direction of my newest, most expanded me, of where my inner being has just gone, of where Source resides. When I feel bad, it means I am completely not on the right track and disconnected with that because it was my desire that spurred this into motion. That's part of it. And also just the emanation that is always being emitted from Source, that love, light, presence, beautiful, perfection, ease kind of energy, manifesting, create, unlimited, invincible, indestructible, all of those kind of things, like that energy. So I have an interesting experience to share of when we just get nudges and just this practice that we're going to do to take us to knowing what the nudges are telling us and how we roll with it. So this morning I was going out to come here to do my walk like I always do every day, but on the way I needed to stop quickly at Staples to return something that was the wrong thing. And as I was in the car thinking, for some strange reason, I attracted a thought that was like, wow, some people come to the walk and they get Starbucks and they drink their little drink and they walk around, and I'm feeling thirsty and I didn't bring a drink. And this was just a thought, and then it just went. Like I thought it and it went. So then I do my thing at Staples and I get back in the car, and this is a really confusing part of where I live. Like it's just little plaza after little plaza after little plaza, kind of on four corners, and they're all kind of tied up in there. And my kids laugh at me because I often get mixed up about which one's which. So I get back in the car and I establish the best way to go to the trail, and using the little map on my Google Map phone, and I start proceeding, and somehow I just go a different way and I end up in the parking lot at Starbucks. Not a real Starbucks, but the Starbucks that's outside of Safeway. I think, well, I don't know. I haven't eaten today and I have a tiny little bit of an edge with my stomach. Is that really what I should do in this very moment? Go and get Starbucks. But here I am at Starbucks. So what do I do with this? I'm trying to find a place where the sun isn't so much because the sun wants me and loves me. So anyway, I get out of the car and I go in as if I'm going to follow this through, and I start to feel, as I start to go, my stomach's like, no, I don't think this is what you should do. And then I get in there and there's like 4 or 5 people lined up, and I'm thinking, okay, this clearly is not what I want to do. So I get back in the car and I start going, and I know now the way, and I'm on my way. So I'm on my way, I'm getting on the highway. And as soon as I get on the highway, I have this little thought that was like, okay, I'm feeling still thirsty. So geez, a bottle of water would have been good because I left my water at home. And so in that flash moment, I realized that I would not have listened to the voice maybe that said, go stop and get a glass of water, go stop and get a bottle of water to take on the trail. For some reason, my inner being had to weave that message into my mind through Starbucks. And I still didn't get it, but I started to realize that that's sometimes how it can be. So we get a message, but it's not always 100% the message that we're getting. It's what is the message that I can get her, my physical counterpart, to hear in this moment that is the closest to taking them to where I want them to go, so to speak, or the closest to where they asked to be taken to, because it was all of our intentions. And what was I asking for? Well, I'm constantly every day asking for a feeling of well-being in my body, of radiance, of vitality, of flexibility, of strength, of healthiness, of like feeling all my cells vibing up. So somewhere in there was my inner being's recognition that a little bit of water would help. So anyway, that's a funny little story of how I ended up with this new understanding of like just tuning in. And obviously I wasn't as tuned in that moment as I could be, or else the message would have come more directly. But anyway, I got to the trail, did the first little check of the walk, got to the visitor center, and got some water at the drinking fountain. So everything just worked out perfectly. I am walking to a place where maybe there is less sun, though I do love the sun shining on me and reminding me so fully that I am source and that I have my inner being. So what good, interesting experience for me to have. What wonderful evidence that in any given moment, my inner being is right there. And not only right there, but keeping score, so to speak, in the sense of thinking about what is the intentions that I am constantly setting in my life. And I thought that was really cool, because it was also a recognition that yes, when we have some big desire, when we want something, we want to manifest some cool thing, we want a relationship or more money, or we want more feelings of union with the higherness of who we are, or we want peacefulness in our life and in our home, and we want to feel successful. You know, when we want all those things, they're like something that we're driving for. There's some sort of like, as if you'll know it when you get there, and blah, blah, blah. But then there's these other sort of intentions that are sort of on a more subtle level, actually more vibrational and potentially more powerful, because they're more the subtle level. Like, I want to feel vitality in my body. I want to feel flexible. I want to feel this communion with my body. I want to know that, yes, I am not my body, but at the same time, it is the physical vehicle that carries me around this experience. So I want to treat it with kindness and love and respect. And I want to always see it in its highest functioning state. And then I put that out as an intention, so my inner being will help me incrementally know what that is. And what is it? There's not something specific, at least I don't think there's something specific that I have to do to keep my body that way, really. I think it's about what is the Trina character believing, or what is Trina believing in any given moment is the best way to have those experiences. And then my inner being knows that, knows where I stand, and it's just this epic flow of all of those experiences. So that was a really cool thing today, to just, one, remind myself that it's never too often to reassess. It's never too often to take that moment and be like, am I still in tune? Could I attune better? Just do it every time you get in the car, every time you walk through a doorway, every time you go to the washroom, every time you look in a mirror, every time you put something in your mouth. Like, as many times as you can prime yourself to do that experience, so that your inner being can be that flow for you. Because the cleaner you are, the clearer you are, the more attuned and in alignment you are, the clearer the message will come. And then get familiar with it. Like, I knew immediately that the Starbucks message was weird, because it's so out of norm of something that I would do. But then there was this little part of me that went, well, maybe it's just a new exciting thing to do. Maybe that's my highest excitement. Maybe I should go follow it. And so we can get caught up in that, and just to be aware of that and to watch it. And of course, there's nothing wrong with having Starbucks. That's not my point at all. My point is just, how do you know what is the things that you're being most pulled towards that will take you more closer to jumping into that expansion with your inner being? Because I have no doubt, and this is the other thing I was thinking about this morning, that when you catch up with that expansion, like your inner being has already taken it, your inner being is sitting with that newest version of you, calling you to it. When you then arrive and sort of get there to that newest space, it's like a stopping point. It's not the forever place, but it's that newest place. Then you both get to dance and swirl around in that. And it just feels like that's what I want. That's what I came for, to have that experience, that swirling up with my inner being in the purity of source, in the fact that I had a desire and he brought it, and then I lined up with it. Beautiful, perfect. So I'm going to go walk with my inner being some more, open up the channels of that communion so that I can be more attuned, get the nudges more, get the vibes more, and listen more. And I invite you to do that as often as you can, and then to listen in and just play it like it's an experiment. This is a game. There's no right or wrong in it. It's just, this is a whole new thing that most of us have not put very much energy into it. Think about it. We go to university for years at a time to get degrees, to get great jobs. We put lots and lots of energy into our marriages and our relationships and our houses and our vehicles and our work, like energy that could be in terms of money or could just be in terms of time. And yet, for most people, how little energy do we put into resetting, reprogramming, or deprogramming and reprogramming our own way of seeing the world, our own way of being in the world, into our spiritual path? How much money are you putting into that? How much energy are you putting into those things? Because they have the power and the potential to make all the rest of those things much, much different and much, much easier. When you're attuned with your inner being, fixing something on your car is much easier than when you're not. Knowing what to do, what's going to fill you up as a full expression of yourself into this physical environment as some type of flow, of job, of those kind of things. Much easier when you're with your inner being. Everything is much easier. Parenting, relationships, cooking, eating, flowing, all of that feels like different and infused with that energy. So I invite you to take the time to do that today and open up those channels so that you also can be more receptive and more in communion with your inner being. And I'll see you tomorrow. Keep vibing up. Bye.